All right, I've started one or two of these before where I'm going on a road trip. Now, but we're also going to talk, sorry about the sound, I know it's probably echoing. We're also going to talk about the 7500F. Now, I did touch on this a little bit because it's the processor I put in the broken motherboard that I recovered. But I've done a little bit of other testing, compared it to the 12700 with a couple other video cards. Yeah, it's worth taking a look at and talking about. Especially if I'm thinking about upgrading to a 7700, a 9700, or 7900. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's talk about it. All right, after a brief stop at Wawa, because everybody's got to have a Wawa, yeah, I'm on my way, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to go and see the pugs, but right now traffic's moving. I got to go. Okay, just one suggestion at Wawa. They were out of vanilla, so I couldn't get a cherry vanilla Coke. I had to mix it with like peach. So I'm cherry and peach. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, Wawa's got good stuff, but don't do that. No. So on the surface, this might not seem like much of a fair fight. We've got an i7 Intel 12700KF. Tops out at about 5 gigahertz as the top speed. It's 12 core, 20 thread, because remember it has performance and efficiency cores. We're matching it up against a Ryzen 5 7500F. 6 cores, 12 thread, no funny business, just the straight 6 core 12 thread. It does also reach about 5 gigahertz. I would have thought, looking at this, that would be a little bit more of a mismatch, because the 12700K in my earlier testing did beat the 5800X. It was a fair amount. And I did not think that 7500 could make that ground up. So the i7, the other caveat we've got here is that i7 is operating on DDR4. The 7500F is on DDR5. And we'll talk about this a little while to see what kind of difference I think that might make. But for the time being, what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at these. Now, these charts hopefully are not too confusing. I grouped each set. We did it by 1080p low for the first 3 games, and that's simply because we want to see that processor do the work, not the video card. If I had done it on 1440 or above, then the video card's doing the work. If I do it at a higher resolution like Ultra or anything like that, again, the video card's doing the work. We want the processor, we want the CPU to be doing the work. So for the first couple of these, we're looking at 1080p low. I also grouped this not by video card. I've got one video card for each, the 6600 XT and the 3060 Ti. I've got a run of both of those for each processor. So you'll see the 7500 at the top. You will see the 12700K at the bottom. And there's a run or a set of runs or set of numbers for each video card for each processor. So it does, maybe with the first slide or two, might be a little bit confusing, but we're not looking at the individual bars. We're going to go ahead and look at the groups of them. The top set will be the 7500, the bottom set will be the i7. And what we're going to find out is that in all cases except for one, that Ryzen actually beats out the Intel i7. Now, is this due to it being DDR4 and DDR5? We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but in every case except for one. Now, Cyberpunk 2077 was the weird outlier here, because on the 3060 Ti, it actually did better with the 12700K. And with the 6600 XT, it actually did better with the 7500. Now, is this matching Ryzen with AMD, making it a little bit better? I don't know. But in any case, we had that one little anomaly. But for all the rest of the testing, basically, we've got this 7500 beating the i7, which was a little bit of a surprise. It's got fewer cores, and if it does sort of have the same speed, but it made me think that maybe the memory speed of DDR4 and DDR5 had something to do with it. Now with Black Myth Wukong and CS2, because I've been testing these on high with 1080p and 1440, I went ahead and stuck with high. The other ones were tested at 1080p low. These are tested at high. I didn't think that would make that big of a difference, and I'm trying to redo a lot of my testing in that case. So that's why this is done that way. The one outlier, like I said, was Cyberpunk that was a little bit weird. It was higher for one video card than it was for the other video card, and vice versa. The Ryzen 5 was higher in one than the Intel i7, but we had the opposite with the other card. So, yeah, I guess take the whole thing with a grain of salt. But overall, it looked like that Ryzen was doing a better job or a little bit faster than the Intel chip. Now, this is where future testing, because I do have another setup, I have a DDR5 board that I'm going to put this i7 on. I will test the DDR4 and 5 to see if that makes a difference. If that does make a significant difference, then also the difference with this 7500 and whatever processor I put on it to replace my current rig, that will become a factor, and we might have to test those against each other. The big thing will be is if it makes a big difference between DDR4 and DDR5 with the Intel build. Now, the Intel build has always just been my editing rig. It's not my streaming or gaming rig or anything like that. That has been the AMD, the Ryzen processors. In this case, I've got a Ryzen 7 5800X. I do know that it's not quite as fast as that current i7 that I've got over in the Intel build, but gaming-wise, it's always treated me better. It always seems to have done better, and I was very, very happy, and always have been very happy with this setup. So I never felt the need to change it. The Intel rig has been a great editing machine, and so that's why I was going to leave that. I'm still going to leave that this way. I am not going to make the Intel into my gaming machine, but this 7500F, I am going to look at upgrading to either a 7700, 7900, or maybe a 9700. It depends on how the prices fall, which one I can get a hold of easiest for the best price. And then, like I said, when we start comparing the memory and we find out if that is a big difference or not, then maybe we'll pit these head to head against each other with the upgraded Ryzen and the upgraded memory from the Intel chip. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and figure out. We'll see if that does make any kind of difference and what kind, what it looks like. One of the things that I want to test first, though, is swap that Intel platform over to see if that makes any difference. I know that I'm going to get a difference when I go from a Ryzen 5 to a Ryzen 7. I don't know how big of a difference I'm going to make or if it's going to be measurable or appreciable when I go from DDR4 to DDR5. Now, if I was going from DDR4 at 3600 speed up to like 8,000, yes, I know absolutely it'd make a difference. But in this case, we're only going to be like 5,600 or maybe 6,000 mega transfers per second. I don't know how big of a difference that'll make, but we'll find out. But anyway, that is all I got this time. Yeah, I was making that comparison and wanted to see what it looked like, and I was curious more than anything because I've got two platforms, and I was trying to think which one do I want to stream and game on. Do I want to keep it the same, or did I want to switch it up? I think I'm going to keep it the same, but it's a good comparison. It's a good thing to look at. Anyway, yeah, if you got anything out of the video, or if you're rocking any of these CPUs, or you've done any of these comparisons yourself, say you've gone from DDR4 to DDR5, or maybe you've gone from a Ryzen 5 to a Ryzen 7 or something of that nature, leave it in the comments. Let me know. If you got anything out of the video, though, throw a like on it if you don't mind. If you're not already subscribed, please do. I certainly would appreciate that. And don't forget to visit the socials if you want to. That would be more than welcome. But if you don't feel like doing any of those things, if you don't feel like liking or subscribe or hit the socials, I will ask you one favor. And that's just be good to each other. Be kind. Doesn't cost anything to be kind. Smile, wave, hold the door open. Say hi, say good morning, good evening, something, anything. You might find out that it makes you feel a little bit better, and it probably makes somebody else's day as well. It's a pretty good thing, huh? We all need a little bit of kindness once in a while. So, until I get myself into something I got no business getting into, which, by the way, I want to do a build from 2018 to see if it's still relevant in 2025. Yeah, so until I get around to doing stuff like that, that's all I got for this time, folks. So, I'll see you later.